So my mom shared this article the other day from international.la, Lacroix International. I think that's how you say it. Maybe Lacroix. I'm not sure. Someone from France can let me know. Um, and this is pretty interesting. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's kind of long and silly, but there's some interesting points that I just felt like commenting on. So it says the title from Diocesan Latin Mass to the Society of St. Pius X, Young Traditionalists Blur the Lines. Yeah, that's true. More young Catholics devoted to the traditional Mass attend both diocesan parishes and the Society of St. Pius X, but this fluidity may be tested by potential new episcopal consecrations by the SSPX. So, in the article, for a long time, an invisible boundary seemed to exist within the traditionalist world, one that was rarely crossed. On one side stood diocesan parishes that offered the traditional Latin Mass, or institutes such as the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter. On the other was the Society of St. Pius X, which has been in schism with Rome since 1988, when its founder, Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre, consecrated four bishops without papal approval, resulting in his excommunication. But a new generation of Catholics is disregarding these unspoken rules, moving freely between different chapels. Socially, unquote, quote, socially, it is better to go to a diocesan church, unquote, said Sophie, 25, who lives in a major city in Western France. Quote, but doctrinally, I relate more to the Society of St. Pius X because they don't try to please everyone and are more direct, unquote. Doctrinally? Sorry. What is doctrine again? I think we're gonna look up the definition of doctrine here after I read this next paragraph. Like most of these young traditionalists, Sophie did not grow up in this world. She discovered it by chance while searching for a parish that emphasized beautiful liturgy. She represents a predominantly urban, devout generation that never experienced the liturgical battles of the past. Quote, we don't want to fight old wars. Today, the debate isn't about doctrine, it's about the Mass, unquote. So there's so many things here. Oh, I never shared the screen, did I? Sorry, guys. Well, you get the point. Again, that's from Lacroix International, Matthew Lassare as the writer. Let me just look up doctrine definition. I'm doing this on the fly. Sorry, guys. Oop, and it did it in German, of course. That won't help most of us. Yeah, that's not a very good definition. Let's see. Merriam-Webster, a principle or position or the body of principles and a branch of knowledge or system of belief. So it's a principal position, the principal beliefs of the Catholic faith. So again, going back to that article, which of course I got out of. Just a sec, everybody. I'm new to this. So again, Sophie saying a few times, she says it's better to go to a diocesan church, but doctrinally she relates more to SSPX. But then later on, she says it's not about doctrine; it's about the Mass. Look, I'm no theologian. I'm no expert on theological matters, but this is so sad to see. I mean, guys, the Latin Mass back even before Vatican II, there are different rites of the Mass, of the true Mass. It doesn't have to be Latin. There are different rites. Now, the most common one, the most accepted one, is the Latin Mass, of course, and that has been said around the world for 500 years approximately. But there's the Ambrosian rite, there's the Dominican rite, there are I think the Coptic rite. There are many that are still valid. So it just proves that the liturgy can be different. Now, it has to be obviously hold the same beliefs. It has to be the true sacrifice of the Mass. It has to have, certain approved, liturgy words, etc. But it does not have to be the Latin Mass. It does not have to have the bells and smells. Now, I think it's important and I think it's interesting that young people like Sophie here is looking for that. They're looking for tradition and they're looking for the beauty of the old mass. And I of course I understand that. I love that too. I of course go every Sunday to a Latin mass in a small little garage church, but it's still the Latin mass and it is still beautiful. So I understand that. I'm not saying that's not important or it's not beautiful. Of course it is. It's perfect. It's incredible what we've been given by the church. But to say like doctrine just doesn't matter, what? And this is part of the whole problem when you get into this whole issue with the SSPX and FSSP, and we've talked to some people here too, some of our friends who do. They'll blur the lines between Sedevacantism, SSPX, and indult. So and part of the Roman Church. And that's crazy because the only thing they have in common is Latin, right? And some of the traditions, and maybe they'll have incense, but they don't have the same doctrine. They're not even teaching the same faith. I mean, certainly not the Novus Ordo, and I would say maybe even more so the SSPX. The Society of St. Pius X goes against some of the clear teachings of the church, and especially against the the Pope. I mean, they recognize him and they resist him, as we all know the phrase. They say, well, he is. We recognize him as Pope, but we don't care. We're going to be Lefebvreist. They look at Archbishop Lefebvre as their Pope. He is who they're going to follow. It's like they've set up their own church, which again has the Latin Mass and valid sacraments, but they're in communion with someone they say is not the Pope. What? Guys, this is why doctrine and even just common sense matters. It's not just the bells and the smells. I mean, you you can't just be in it for the aesthetics. It has to actually be Catholic, right? And these people who are saying, "Oh, it's all the same." No, it's not. Of course it's not. And I actually respect the people in, say even in the Church of Rome, the Novus Ordo, who will not attend a Sede Mass or anything else because they believe that no, we cannot, we have to stay with Rome. I think they're wrong, but I understand it because they're saying no, we have to listen to the Pope. And if we're listening to the Pope, then we of course cannot go and attend a different Latin Mass that is said by a priest who says that he's not the Pope. There's logic there. And I think that it's kind of this weird thing. I think it's where we start to base our beliefs on emotion, right? Oh, this feels so good to be in this big church with beautiful choir and incense, and it looks so nice. Yeah, but what is it? Is it the true faith? Is it from the true Catholic Church, the church given to us by Christ? That's what matters. The doctrine is what matters. The liturgy comes from that. And again, the liturgy can be changed by a true pope. It has been many times. So, kind of a scary article, honestly. I think my mom thought that too when she shared it. She was like, "Eeh, yikes, yikes, indeed." Let's just remember again that let's not just poo-poo doctrine. Let's remember that the doctrine is the core beliefs, the core tenets of our faith. The liturgy can and has been changed. May God help us all to understand and to follow